Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now.
On today's episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we're excited to have an awesome guest, the young speedster Sonya Lloyd, with us. Sonya is a formidable force on the racing circuits, breaking barriers and setting new standards in the racing community. In this episode, Sonya will share her journey from amateur races to professional circuits, discuss the challenges she's faced, and her efforts to inspire and support other women racers. So let's hit the throttle and dive into the world of competitive racing with Sonya Lloyd, right here on the One Gang podcast.
But it sucks you down. Kind of like when you're in an airplane and it turns and you can kind of feel yourself get weighted. So it sucks you down to the bike and you have to actually kind of force yourself to breathe because you're getting pushed onto the bike so hard. So you're kind of like pushing the air out of your mouth. And at the same time, you're trying to get as small as you can, as tight in flight.
One Gang Worldwide podcast, brought to you by Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping. Since 1978, Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping has been the trusted name in transporting motorcycles safely across the country. With custom-designed pallets and air ride trailers, your bike is secure and protected every step of the way. By choosing Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping, you're supporting a dedicated small business that prioritizes quality and customer satisfaction. Ship with a peace of mind, knowing your motorcycle is in expert hands.
Please visit shippingmymotorcycle.com. That's shippingmymotorcycle.com. And now, back to our show.
Welcome to the podcast, Sonya Lloyd. We're excited to have you, an insanely awesome racer with MotoAmerica. We're pumped to hear your story and get in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Sonya. Thanks for joining us. This is great, man. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while. I think what you do is pretty awesome. So I guess we will start it off in the early life of your youth, as we call it. Take us a little bit into where you grew up and kind of how your interest first began with motorcycles.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ohio, and I grew up there till I was about 8 years old. Moved around a little bit to Connecticut, Indiana, and then finally down to Georgia, where I am now. But my dad was a national number flat track racer. So growing up, I got to go to a lot of the pro flat track races. So that's kind of where my interest started.
That's awesome. What was there a particular moment that really kind of influenced your love for motorcycles?
Really not till later in life. Like growing up, going to the pro races, you only see 20-plus-year-olds riding motorcycles. So I didn't even know that I could ride a motorcycle when I was younger. So my adventures didn't really start till I was about 17. So it was later in life, but the love was always there since the beginning.
Right on. So tell us about school. You're pursuing the degree in biological engineering, right? And also business. Tell us, were you like most kids where you got into it and had no idea what you were going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So I started college at the University of Georgia, and I was originally a biology major, and I was going to be a dentist. Mm-hmm. That was my plan. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to make some money, have good hours. And then my dental shadowing ended up getting canceled for COVID. So I ended up just following my dad around and being kind of an intern crew member on his team. Nice. And then I switched to biological engineering after that. So I just graduated. I am doing
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm doing a 4+1 program right now. So I will be graduating with my MBA next spring. So I'm still in school, working full time now. So,
well, what do you want to do with the degree? What's the ultimate dream?
So the company I work for right now does a lot in software, and they do a lot of Formula One kind of software stuff in their motorsports sector. So I think it'd be really cool to maybe bring some of that into motorcycle racing and work on that kind of thing. Be neat.
That'd be awesome. There's so many posts and info out there about F1, like the development of a screw, and it takes you through this whole journey of what it takes to make one screw. So you're balancing full-time school with your racing pursuits. Tell us how you managed to balance all that.
It's definitely been a bit tricky. I also have a dog, so been
Oh,
nice living with 4 roommates. There's 5 of us here.
Wow.
So I get a lot of help and yeah,
nice.
just honestly, weekends and afternoons are just grinding for racing, and then during the day working, and
Mhm.
one is a break from the other, so it's not as bad as it seems.
That's
How
cool.
did
What kind of fur baby do you have?
So his name is Otis, and he's pretty much just an Otis. He's a mutt. I was trying to adopt a dog for so long, but living in an apartment, none of the humane societies will give you a dog. So ended up going on Craigslist,
Ah,
and um,
you're finding it
this
there?
poor
Nice.
woman, her puppies had puppies, and he was perfect. So
All right. All right.
oh,
How old is he now?
he's about a year and a half, and he's a
Okay.
border collie lab pit bull mix.
oh wow. Sounds smart.
Very.
Wanted to ask you about your professional racing experience. First of all, like, how did you get involved with the Royal Enfield's All Women Initiative to teach women to build and race their own motorcycles? Take us a little bit into that.
So, to kind of go back a little bit, Royal Enfield does the same program with flat track racing. And my dad worked on the flat track team, not for the Build Train Race program, but for the actual Royal Enfield professional team. So I kind of knew about the program, and then ended up meeting this really cool pro racer, Dale Quarterly, and he pretty much encouraged me to try road racing. So I applied and I got denied the first year, and then
Oh,
fudged my application a little bit the next year, and a little bit more experience on there that I didn't quite have.
Nice.
But I knew I was going to get, and then ended up getting into it. So that was last year, and that was really cool. That
That's
that
awesome.
was a really neat program.
Can you
what was
share
neat
some?
about it?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say share
Sorry,
some
Serge.
highlights. That's all right.
It's
Let's say, can you share
talking over you.
some highlights and challenges from your time competing in the MotoAmerica with Royal?
Yeah, so I think when I went into that program, I had only been on a road race bike 4 times. And what they did is they flew us out to Texas, and we spent 4 days, like 12-hour days, in this garage building these street bikes
Wow.
into road race bikes. Then
Great.
after the 4
Oh, cool.
days, which ended up actually being my birthday, which was kind of cool, we went to a track in Texas, and we did 2 training days with Freddie Spencer, who's like huge pro championship road racer
Right.
guy. Um, and that was really neat. And that was like my 5th time on a road race bike. And we did some mock races, and it was really cool. And then we went to Road America for our first race after that. So it was a very quick jump into the pro road racing world.
What size bikes are you racing? Like, what did you start off on, and what did you race in that MotoAmerica race with Royal?
So the first road race bike I was ever on was a Ninja 400. And then
Okay.
these Royal Enfields were 650s, but they're about the same horsepower. So it wasn't a huge difference, which was nice.
Did you like one's performance over the others? I mean, what was your perception? I mean, you went. What did you learn? Well, let me go back a little bit. What did you learn on? Like, what did your dad teach you, or what bike did you initially first start off with?
Um, so that's a hard question because my first experience really on a motorcycle, I found a little amateur flat track race, and I pretty much told him like I was going with or without him. Um, and so it was just this ratted out little pit bike 150 flat track bike. Um, so I kind of did that for about a year, and then I moved up to a 250 flat track bike. Um, and then from
Okay.
there, I then tried the Ninja 400 and then the Royal Enfield. So
Okay.
kind
All
of a
right. Cool.
weird.
Do you have a preference? Which one you enjoy more?
It's so hard between flat track and road racing. They're very different. So I I couldn't tell you. I've loved every bike that I've gotten on. So
I got a question to ask you, just for listeners who may not know the difference. Obviously, they understand flat track and road racing, but can you give us a little bit? Can you take us a little bit into how you prepare for, let's say, the flat track type races, and then how you prepare for the road races, and kind of give the difference and similarities?
Mhm. So overall, I'd say flat track is like hard drugs and road racing is like block drugs. I don't know a better way to put it. Flat track is very fast paced. You go, it's only one day, one night typically. And it's just chaos and it's so fun. And the
Right.
races are bar banging on dirt and there may be 4 lap practices. You don't get much time on the track. So mentally, it's a lot easier to stay locked in and just kind of enjoy the moment. And then road racing for
Right.
MotoAmerica is like a 4-day event. So it's a lot harder to kind of stay focused. Qualifying's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So you got to stay locked in the whole time. They're long days. It's a lot calmer, but more of an endurance race. Makes sense.
Gotcha. And did you like one over the other, or was it the fact that, like, with the track, you had to really be dialed in all the time because it's only a one-time shot? With the road race, you got 4 days to improve your times and do all that stuff. What was there one that you preferred over the other?
You know, I really just love racing, and there's
Okay.
a lot more racing in a flat track day. So it's nice having that in between road races because your qualifying is a race in flat track, whereas in road racing it's just time trials. So, um, yeah, I just once we get to racing in the road racing weekend, I have a lot of fun. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so it's a mix.
Well, what type of like, just for the audience who might have interest in pursuing something like this to get into the racing part of, can you take us a little bit into the type of training that's involved? Like, what were your normal, I know you're a student that just graduated college, but in between the time frames where you were juggling school and doing the riding and racing, can you take us a little bit into, like, the preparations, the race, like what you had to go through physically and mentally to train for the upcoming races in both sides?
Yeah, so when I started flat tracking, I realized that I really needed to get in shape to do this. First of all, it just decreases the risk of injuries and all of that, but also just to kind of keep up with these guys. Because I raced against a lot of big dudes, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
they can put the bike where
Big
they want it,
dudes.
So
Right,
um,
right, right.
I
Yeah.
knew I needed to keep up. So I did a lot of really just running at the beginning. Like I did a half marathon just before I started road racing and like um, just a lot of endurance kind of things and some weights, but just a lot of running. And then when I
A lot of
started
running.
road racing, I got a street pedal bike and I put it
Cool.
on one of those Wahoo kickers where you can connect it to
Yeah.
Zwift on your computer. Yeah. So I started doing a lot of cycle training online with people, which really helped. Like I really felt a difference in those longer road race sessions that you have to do. Um,
As far as what, managing your breathing?
yeah, just all of that. Managing the breathing is, I think, the biggest thing out there. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
also like training your mind to stay mentally locked in the whole time. Like when you get to a hill and you got to push, like you got to push. And I think that just translates really well during a road race session, especially when you want to put in that qualifying lap and you got to push. Um, it,
Yeah.
it helped a lot. It was kind of crazy. And then I also got one of those simulators, the iRacing simulators, just on a PC, but a steering wheel and some pedals. So I do that to learn the tracks that we go to. So that's been really helpful.
Nice.
Sonia, one more question before Ben moves on to the next one. You said that the hardest part about the road racing is to stay focused for that time frame. Can you take the listeners into a little bit what you mean by that? Like, where is there where it's you seem to lose focus and then you gotta have to regain it back? Take us a little bit. Explain what you're trying to say as far as like with the flat track, you got to be dialed in for the time you're there, and then with this, you have 4 days to do it. So where is it that you may lose focus?
Um, so really it's kind of in between the sessions. So Fridays typically practice and qualifying. So you practice for 20, 25 minutes in the morning, and then you're
Mhm.
kind of just waiting around, thinking about what you can do to the bike and all that kind of stuff until the afternoon when you have your qualifying session. And then that's about 30 minutes. So, you wake up and you get the jitters out and you're ready to go and you get on the bike and you do your practice and then you calm down and then you got to get yourself back up for that qualifying, which is kind of
Got it.
so
Got it. So the emotion, right?
yeah.
Juggling the emotion and okay, I got you. All right, that's cool. Thank you for explaining
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And it's the same for the race day. Because the next 2 days you've got a qualifying then a race. So it's just long days staying locked in.
So going back to the Royal Enfield initiative, what impact did that have on promoting uh, women and youth in their involvement in motorsports?
Yeah, I mean, it's a super neat program. Their message is amazing. It was a bit confusing last year being, I think, the 3rd year that they did it. Um, I
Mhm.
Their initial thought was to have girls who have had no road race experience get in there and teach them what to do and pretty much show that like anybody can get into racing, which is so important because when you look at racing, you're like, how do I get into that? Do I have to buy a bike?
Sure.
Do I have to figure out a track?
Barrier of
Yeah,
entry.
huge. But you'd be surprised in the road racing world, like if you go to one of these tracks, everybody's going to help you. It's not as scary as it seems. It's definitely something I think everybody with
Mhm.
a motorcycle should try. So Royal Enfield was really trying to push that, along with getting women into the sport, which is really cool. Um, so they took some girls of different levels in last year, which was really neat because then we had battles in the front, in the middle, in the back, all over the board,
It's
like
cool.
experience levels. It was really neat. And
Yeah.
Michaela Moore, she ended up winning the championship last year. I ended up coming in second. He
Nice.
She was amazing. I mean, she is very methodical, mechanical. She's been riding for a while. So I think that was really neat to see kind of what you can get to being a young female in the sport. Um,
Right.
and then she got an offer to ride on the Junior Cup team. And then I obviously got an offer to ride on a Twins Cup team, which was really cool.
Killer.
So yeah, it was just really neat. It was a good community of women. They're still doing it. So I met all the new girls and they're awesome. Um, but yeah, I think it's really cool. Um, it just kind of, it's a launching pad. So, it puts you in the eye of all the people so you can network and make a deal for you.
And being that your dad was in the flat track world, I'm sure you were very accustomed and comfortable in that environment. So it was, growing up in that, it's a lot easier to blend in with everybody else, knowing what you know. So I'm sure that helped a lot.
Yeah, that was actually really huge. The whole just knowing how to network with people and talk to those kind of people, I think really helped. And I tried to kind of tell the other girls my experience and, help them out making marketing decks and stuff. And
That's
just
cool.
kind of, yeah, it was definitely helped knowing professional world a little bit.
That's cool.
And then with your insight and being involved in that program and going through it and seeing other women riders, how do you see the involvement of women riders evolving over the next? There'll be a big boom, or what do you think?
I think so. I think a lot of younger girls are really getting into it. Ella Dreher, I think she's 14 or 15 now, but she just started Junior
Wow.
Cup and she's already podiuming. I mean, she's like
Wow.
killing the game.
Jeez.
She was leading the
Wow.
race, the last race we were at. Like, yeah, absolutely amazing. I think you're gonna really start seeing that everybody out there are just competitors, not girls or boys. It's just once the visor comes down, it's an even playing field out
It
there.
doesn't
And it's
matter.
really cool because
Yeah.
all the guys feel the same way too. You know, they're not taking it easy on you. Obviously, they want to win too. So
Right.
it is neat to see.
That's cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So when you joined the Yamaha's Twin Cup team, right? Can you take us through the transition from racing for Royal and then now joining like a Yamaha supported Twin Cup MotoAmerica team? What was the difference in the teams? Why did you make the switch?
So, yeah, I actually got invited back to do the Royal Enfield program again this year. But this deal was just too good to give up. Chuck Giacchetto, he's my team manager. He actually lives in Georgia, where I'm at, about 45 minutes away. So I met him throughout the season. He helped bring up some of my supplies, which was really nice of him. And then I think he just kind of saw an opportunity there to get Yamaha more involved with the team that he was working on, and then become a Yamaha supported team, um, kind of bringing up a newcomer, which was me, which was really cool.
Right.
But yeah, it was a huge difference. Royal Enfield, you know, there was 12 of us under 110. It was this big ordeal, like it was crazy, very structured. Then I went and moved on to a 700cc bike, full on race bike.
No shit.
Um,
Nice.
and that was my first time on that bike. I was like, whoa, I'm doing wheelies. This is, you know,
Yeah. Those things are-
fun. And then had a few times on it. And then we went to Daytona for the first race. So the banking, going like 160 miles an hour on it.
Awesome that you brought that up. I got a question.
But it was a big jump,
Dude,
but
please,
it's,
please tell me tell me when you are coming up, when the track is like this, can you take the listeners to that, coming into that, what you have to do, how you have to handle the bike? Because I think for anybody who's been to like bike week up in Daytona, you know, a lot of people ride, right? So they come up to bike week, then they go through, they got great tours that you can kind of take your motorcycle in. You can't really do the track, but you can ride by certain points so you can see it, right? But when you look at that angle, it is so intimidating. I mean, it's unbelievable. It looks like you're looking at a wall, basically. Can you take us through that ride?
yeah. So right before I went out, I was like, oh, I don't know what this is going to be like. I have no idea.
Right.
All these older racers are saying, oh no, it's easy. It's fine. It's just, you're just going straight, you know? But you're looking at it like, okay, sure. But yeah, so coming out of the infield, there's a transition and it's kind of a rough transition onto that banking. And I was like, oh, just close your eyes and just go over it and it's going to be fine. And I think I was following my teammate at that time. So I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. It's going to be fine.
Right.
So you just pin the gas, you go over the seam and it kind of jumps you up. And it really doesn't feel like you're at an angle, but it sucks you down. Kind of like when you're in an airplane and it turns and you can kind of feel yourself get weighted. So it sucks you down to the bike and you have to actually kind of force yourself to breathe because you're getting pushed onto the bike so hard. So you're kind of like pushing the air out of your mouth. And at the same time, you're trying to get as small as you can, as tight in the bike. And I remember I was like, I'm just going to see what this feels like if I just kind of lift my hand. And my hand went like, boom. And I was like, okay, stay really tight.
Yes.
We're not going to slide.
Hang on tight.
But then after you go around that, I think it's NASCAR turn 2 or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It ends up kind of flattening out and then you get into a braking zone for the chicane. So that transition, you really feel that you're coming off of a banking. And so that's when you really realize that, wow, I was kind of sideways right here.
So if you're leaning, if the gravity is pulling you down, are you shifting your weight the opposite way, or are you just getting as small as you possibly can, tuck into the bike and just keep hammering?
It's almost actually the opposite. So you kind of, I know my head, I was tilting like to the left when I was on the banking because the bike kind of wants to pull you up the banking. Well, I was almost trying to,
Would not expect.
yeah, it was kind of weird. Yeah.
And then after the second round, it was like you've done it a million times, right? it was just that first initial butterflies. What am I getting into?
Yeah.
And then after that, it was nice and easy. All right, that's cool, man. Thanks so much for taking us into that. I've always wondered that, and we finally have somebody who's actually raced this. So that's totally cool on that end. And can you describe your experience racing for is it Giacomo? Is that what it is?
Giacomo. Yep.
Giacomo.
Yeah.
You said that with Royal, it was 12 people in a tent. This is a little bit more what, like first, like moving from regular seating in an airplane to first class. Is that what it is?
Kind of felt like, yeah. I mean, Royal Enfield treated us so well. They were amazing. It was definitely professional racing. But then Giacomo, you really understand how technical it all gets. So we have every sensor you can imagine on the bike. After I come off, you pull up the TV screen and you've got all the different sensors pretty much up there, all the graphs. So you can go over all your data, see everything that's
So
going
cool.
on. So it's just, I guess I don't really know how to explain it other than just like a lot more in-depth racing. Like you're really looking at every moment on the bike and where you can be better in every moment.
Yeah.
And they're
It's basically it's showing you your pros and cons, your strengths and weaknesses of riding. So if there is a weakness, those sensor points will point that out into the system, right? And then you can work on that as far as which makes you a better racer, of course, than just getting on the bike and racing.
yeah, and they can change like everything on those bikes. So we're moving millimeters here and there on all parts of the bikes to make it
Wow.
feel right.
Amazing.
And I can overlay my data with my teammates' data, which is really cool. So I can kind of see what he's doing
Oh, that's
and where I'm losing some time and where I can be a little better. Just throttle position sensors, where he's cracking it open, where I'm cracking it open, and just, brake
yeah.
sensors, just everything. It's crazy.
How big is the team?
So there's just two of us racing. So it's me and Donald
Okay.
Doyle. We're the two racers. And then I have 3 to 4 mechanics on my team every weekend, and he has the same. So there's typically about 10 of us under the tent on a weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as like, and this is just a question I've always been curious about, when the teams travel, you guys all travel together, or do like you and your, I'm sorry, I forgot your partner's name, but you guys fly in there and then the mechanics and the trucks get there, or do you guys all come together as one?
So he lives up in New York.
Okay.
And then most of the team actually lives here in Georgia. So he flies into almost everything. The test days, I typically drive with the team in the truck. But when we go up north and stuff, I get to fly just because I work and stuff on
Okay.
the weekdays. And they're really,
Understand.
really nice about that.
That's cool. So,
Cool.
and you want to take this into, do you think that, I mean, you just got your degree, and then I think you're continuing on, right? Are you continuing on with your education?
Yeah, so I'll graduate next spring with the MBA. So then I'll be done.
Okay. All right. So, but what if this racing thing becomes something pretty incredible? So, you're gonna balance it out?
Well, I'm not quite making a ton of money right now. So
Okay. Got it.
that really, at this point, depends on sponsorship.
Sure.
If you can get enough to kind of survive through race season, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I do have a really nice job right now. And they're very lenient about me going racing too, which is kind of
That's
cool.
cool.
So they're a German company, so they're very into, developing the person, having some time off when you need it, all that kind of stuff.
Good.
It's cool.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to try to do both for as long as I can, but if it starts getting in the way of racing and that's really going uphill, then, we'll see. I thought about just buying a van, just going around the country racing, but I don't know. We're not quite there yet, so we'll see.
Well, the good thing is you're still young enough to do whatever you want to do. So, that's the beauty of where we are at in your life right now. I mean, you're covering all the bases. You're chasing your passion and what you're good at, but in addition to, you're also getting a top-notch education and furthering that education. So regardless which way you lean, you're always going to succeed. So, well, we're excited to watch you progress. So that's for sure.
Yeah, I should really thank my parents for that one because I
Yeah,
know a
no
lot of these
question.
kids started when they were 4 or 5, and I have a lot of friends in MotoAmerica that didn't even really finish high school. They got sent off to Europe, and they kinda grew up racing in Europe and then came back and
Yep.
didn't really have that education pathway, so, yeah, I kinda got the
Mhm.
best of both worlds here, which is nice.
That's cool.
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, one gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part: Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the US for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a butt buffer for every rider's style. Get your butt buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
Yeah. So speaking of education, tell us about your capstone projects.
I didn't
It's
know about
absolutely
that.
insane.
Hey, we know
Yeah.
everything. We dig into everything.
A little sleuthing, but the nanoparticle synthesizer and its impact in the biological field. Tell us about
Yeah, so my capstone project, which your senior year, you get assigned either a company or a researcher at the school, and they kind of have a project that they need done. So I got assigned to a vet person in the nanoparticle field at UGA. So
it.
he is developing a nanoparticle that neuters and spays animals without surgery. So it's a targeting nanoparticle that gets injected for older dogs who maybe can't
Insane.
survive a surgery, but they have some kind of cancer. There's tons of uses
Right.
for it. And so they're in the phase right now of getting FDA approval. But to do that, you have to upscale your production. And they were just kind of making these nanoparticles in a beaker, and the quality just wasn't quite there. And they couldn't quite figure out, you couldn't really adjust the different flow rates and, all the stuff for it. So we developed a synthesizer device that uses microfluidic chips and little micro pumps and like all this cool stuff to upscale it.
So cool.
So yeah, it was a really neat project. I am not going to lie, I was pretty upset when I got assigned a nanoparticle synthesizer because I had no idea what that was. And I was like, oh, I want to
Thank you for explaining that, because we have no idea what it is.
Yeah. That was my next question. Was it intimidating getting into that? And what was like the biggest challenge or some of the challenges going into that just after you'd already bit the bullet and got involved?
Well, so as a bioengineer, you're really taking mechanical engineering courses and then a lot of science courses. So when they throw
Mhm.
actual nanoparticle development at you, it was very, very intimidating. We talked to a lot of researchers here at UTA, and they were super helpful. So I feel like I really understand
Nice.
nanoparticles now, which is cool. I don't know if I'd be developing them myself, but I can synthesize them. So I
Okay.
don't have to put proteins together to try to figure out what it does. I can take solutions that people have made and I can adjust flow rates and all the different factors that you need to mash these particles together and create what you need
Cool.
and pop out a nice quality nanoparticle.
That's cool, man. That's cool to even understand and know. I mean, that's not something like that's Chinese to me. Hey, listen, I want to ask you about the engineers leadership development program that you're a part of. Can you let us know, like, participating in that program, development program, how did it shape your approach towards engineering and the leadership world, which you're going to be approaching soon after you graduate?
Yeah, so this was a neat program they offered with the capstone program, actually. And it was just, a lot of speakers came in, a lot of different course material, just kind of analyzing your leadership style and what it's like in the engineering world. And different pathways you can take. So I am doing a leadership development program at the company that I'm at right now too, which is kind of cool. So I'm getting to overlap a lot of that knowledge
cool.
that I have. But
Sure.
so the leadership
Great.
program I'm in right now with Siemens is a rotational program. So you get to do pretty much technical consulting on all their different business units for 2 years. And then you can roll off into really whatever job you want. So you network and you accumulate job offers, and then you can kind of go whatever direction you want. But you're very valued because you're part of this program. So yeah, it's really cool.
So what skills would you say or insights did you gain from the program that kind of are valuable for you both in your academic and possibly even your racing career?
Honestly, I think it was a lot of self-reflection that really helped. Kind of understanding your leadership style and how you work on a team, which at first I honestly was like, oh, if you're just nice, like, you'll get along with your team, things will go
Right.
well, but it is crazy all the different styles people have and how they work together. And there's a lot of psychology behind that I probably don't really understand. But just knowing like how I can be better on a team and how I can help other people be better on a team, help bring them out of their shell or not put them too much in the spotlight and all of that kind of thing.
Right.
Just understanding people. That was a big part of the program, and that was neat to learn. Yeah.
That's cool.
It helps in
Yeah,
racing
that's
too,
huge.
Absolutely.
You know which mechanic to push
Absolutely.
and which one not to. And
Right. They have to be your best friends at all
yeah,
times. So
can't make them mad.
no, don't make them mad.
Yeah. So going into the next topic, International Female Ride Day. How did you get involved in that? And tell us a little bit about the experience.
So that was put on by Yamaha. They put on this event, I believe every year for International Ride Day, but there was one at their headquarters in Georgia and then one at their headquarters in California, this big event. So they invited me to come to the one in Georgia, which was really cool, and bring my bike and talk to women who are street riders about maybe trying a track day or getting into racing or what that looks like. And so Yamaha actually puts on female ride days at tracks too, which is really
Nice.
cool. So we were promoting that and met a lot of really cool women. There's kind of not a biker gang, but like a biker crew in Georgia, a women crew, and they go ride in the Blue Ridge
Cool.
Mountains and do all this
Oh, yeah.
stuff. So
So beautiful up there.
yeah, so it'd be really neat to have them out to a track, It's cool because some of them just want to, ride around, see how fast they can go. And some of them are really wanting to race. So I think it'll,
What age groups were you running into the most? Like, was it pretty balanced, or was it a lot of younger?
I think really 30s to 40s was a lot of,
30s to 40s.
yeah, probably the majority. So, but it's never too late to start. I mean, I started at 17 riding and all my competitors right now started at like 4. So I think if you put your mind to it, go for it.
Mhm. Yeah. So do you think that we'll continue to see female events and gatherings like that? Does it feel like I know like my wife, for example, would she's super female empowerment. She's an incredible woman, or in case she's listening. But so do you think that
Wink,
those
wink.
events,
No.
yeah, right. Do you think that those events will continue to see an increase in their participation from women riders?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It'd be cool in the future. Like, I don't think you really need that male versus female kind of events. Hopefully in the
That's what
future,
I'm getting
yeah.
at. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know it is nice at first to know that, you go to a track day, you're not getting looked at by these guys. Oh, she might not know
Right.
what she's doing. Like there's just,
Right.
all those little kind of insecurities that I think women
Sure.
still have from motorcycle racing. So it is nice. It's more of a community kind of thing. Like I never raced with girls until this BTR program. And I was like, it'll be the same. It'll be like racing with the guys. Like nothing will be different. But it really is this different kind of community feel. You kind of,
Mm.
when you meet someone that kind of like you and you become instant best friends, it's like
Right.
that kind of
Right.
feel, which is fun. So I think it's less of, making it just for women and more of, oh, this is a place where you can make friends and then go to regular track days together,
That's
which is
huge.
cool. Yeah.
So what did you find? What did you find that, like, explain to us the difference, racing women and racing with men? Obviously, are men more aggressive or are the women more aggressive?
So I've crashed a lot more this season. Um, Racing
Oh,
it,
racing with women. Okay.
it's just, it has to do with that. But it's not, that's a hard question. It depends really who you're racing. Um, Obviously, MotoAmerica, the Pro Series in this Twins Cup class, like they're aggressive. They're not going to give you an inch.
Right.
I've actually been hit from the back twice now this season,
Shit.
so that's
Jeez.
been kind of a rough go we're having right now. But like Royal Enfield, the BTR program, I didn't crash at all that season. But there was only 12 of us out there, so I feel like I can't really answer that question. I haven't done enough racing with just girls.
Can I ask you a question in this aspect? Is, you said you crashed a lot more this year, and this year you've been racing mainly women, where before you were racing with men, right?
This year I'm just racing with guys.
Oh, you're racing with
Mhm.
guys. Okay. So because of that, because they're so aggressive, I understand now.
But they've
Okay.
been, it hasn't been their fault every time. So
Okay.
yeah, I feel like I've been able to be more aggressive this year, which is cool. But the girls last
Is
year,
that from confidence?
yeah, definitely. And just
Gotcha.
these guys won't give you an inch. So, you have
You
to
have
get
to fight for
rich,
it.
like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to fight
So it
for
makes
it.
me wonder about kids like Ella Dreyer, being 14 and just fearless. It just seems like maybe she's fearless and just getting after
Oh,
it,
yeah.
throwing up on the podium like that. No
He
sweat.
doesn't give them
I
an inch
love that.
either.
Yeah. So some people are just born a pit
Gangster.
bull, and that's the reality. They're born with that mentality. They're like, there's nothing. I'll go down crashing if I have to, but
Mhm.
nobody's beating me. So when you have that kind of drive, it's hard. It's hard to compete against them because, like, they'll do stuff that normally you back off on the throttle, and they got it full fledged. They're like, I don't give a
Burn
shit.
it.
Yeah, like
Well,
Kayla Yakov, she's killing it in the super sport class right now, and she's just turned
Right.
17. And she was not giving them an inch. She just got her first podium this past weekend, and
Nice.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to mess with her either out there. She will outbreak you.
Right.
It-
Good.
That's
Good.
awesome.
It's great to see. It's good. It's good for the younger generation to see how much you can accomplish with hard work. So let's get into your future goals and aspirations. I guess, looking ahead, what are your goals, both in the world of motorcycles and your engineering career? What would you like to see transpire, or what are you aiming for?
Honestly, I just want to keep moving forward. Like right now, every time we've gone to a race, we've done a little bit better. I made a top 10 this past time, so it's that was a
Awesome.
big accomplishment for us. And so, I want to be the best. Like that'd be really cool. I definitely don't want to quit till I get to the top, and I think I can get there. So, there is a women's world championship now that they just started this year, over in Europe, which would be neat to get to, but I don't really want to go until I'm very competitive. So we'll kind of see how that plays out and how those girls end up doing this year.
Sorry to interrupt you for 1 second. When you said when you're very competitive, can you explain to us what you mean by that? Like, in order to race in Europe, you want to reach a certain plateau that you feel comfortable with to go over there. Can you take us into that a little bit, what you're trying to explain?
Yeah. So like the girls over there right now, I think they've had their first race, and the one who won is already a world superbike racer. Like they're they're top-notch level talent over there. And all of Europe is just, I would say, probably 10 times more competitive than over here in the US. They grow up doing it.
Wow.
They're
Yeah,
every
MotoGP
day.
is
Yeah,
humongous.
it's
Yep.
huge. So, we have one American, Mallory Dobbs, who is over there in the program or in the championship, and she just got a 15th, and there's 25 of them. So she did, pretty well. She was mid-pack, which is great, against those kind of girls. And I know she started late too, because it's not offered here as early. It's not. I mean, she started when she was, I think, 20. She's 30 now. So, um, just, I don't really want to go over there and be a mid-packer. I think if you're going to invest all that time and money and, I want to do well. I want to be
Sure.
up in the front pack. And this is only my first year on a big bike. So, I think we're going to see those exponential growth patterns, hopefully, over this next year or two. So I'm ideally in the next 2 or 3 years would like to go over there and be competitive, which would
Okay.
be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, just start
That is awesome.
being in the front pack over here in Twins Cup. Maybe try a 600 4-stroke, like just bigger bikes, and get a little more comfortable doing that.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank
cool.
you. Thanks for getting into that.
So what advice would you give to young women or anyone really trying to get into this field of racing and I guess also engineering?
Yeah. Well, for racing, just get a little motorcycle. Just learn how to shift. Go have some fun in a parking lot. Go find a dirt track. Honestly, go on Facebook, look up, like I looked up Deep South Motorcycle Club, and that's kind of where I found my first flat track race. And there's track
That's
days
cool.
everywhere that you just don't know about, Look
That's
up
right.
local tracks, find, somebody who knows something, and they'll tell you everything. It's hard to find, but once you uncover that first, turn over that first stone, you'll find it all. So like, don't be afraid, ask for help, go try it, open mind, kind of what I did. I never really knew how I was going to finish or, how it was going to go. And then you just kind of try it and hope for the best. So
That's right.
just trust yourself, go try it. And for engineering, like there's so many, women engineers now in all the programs. I think half of my classes were always girls. Like
That's great.
it's not really a scary world. It's, you are smart enough, just try it.
That's right.
If you like problem solving, if
Yeah,
you're passionate about it, it's worth the shots. Just a lot of believe in yourself, I guess. Put yourself out there. Yeah.
That works. I like it. So in your career and your life so far, who has been, or if it's maybe more than one, but what inspirations or inspirational people have you had in your journey so far?
Well, I'm really lucky. I have an amazing mom. She is an MD, RD, PhD, like just brilliant lady. So she pushed me down the education path, which
Right,
was
yep.
cool. So
Cool.
get to see her do her thing. And she does dietetics and nutrition, VP and stuff. So she's very amazing, inspirational lady. And then my dad, being an amazing motorcycle tuner and used to be pro flat track racer, just, really cool to see my parents following their dreams and believing in themselves. So I think it's just, I got lucky. I kind of grew up.
So
That's
your
funny too.
your
So
mom,
you got
yeah.
your dad for the dad for the racing and the mom for the engineering.
So mom liked the bad boys then on the motorcycles, huh?
She was funny. They actually met on one of those motorcycle video games at a bar, where you sit on the
Oh
first.
yeah.
How
we-
pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so
That's
funny.
awesome.
That's really cool. Where can people find you to follow your journey and get in touch with you if they need to? What are social media platforms that you on?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Sonya.b.Lloyd on Instagram, and then just Sonya Lloyd on Facebook. I also have a YouTube, so we've been making some really cool vlogs of the race weekends, so you can kind of see what it's like. And that's just
Awesome.
Sonya Lloyd Racing on YouTube. I do have a website. I try to keep updated, SonyaLloydRacing.com. That's always hit or miss though. But yeah, if we're always looking for people to bring on board, sponsorships, or if you just want to see what it's like let me know. Love to talk to anybody about getting into it or,
Awesome.
next steps that they need to take.
Awesome. We'll link all that stuff to the show notes so people can get a hold of you from the clicks. And you ready for the speed round?
Oh boy. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. You got 2 minutes on the clock. And if you don't make the 2 minutes, then you have to put a One Gang Worldwide sticker on the back of your helmet for all your races. And we'll send it to you. All right. So Ben, we're gonna go real slow. Slow. No, just kidding. All right, let's do it. What is the best motorcycle you've ever owned or ridden?
I'd say my Yamaha R7 right now.
R7.
It's amazing.
Nice. If your motorcycle could talk, what would yours say about you?
Stop throwing me on the ground. This is starting to hurt.
Hey, you're getting bumped from the back. It's not your fault.
It's
All
not
right. Best place you ever rode and why?
Probably Daytona, just because it was so incredible and it was my first race and I did really well and it was such a fun weekend.
That's cool. Hey, I'll get back to the question in a second. Do you ride just in general or are you only riding when you're racing?
We do some track days and testing, not too much during the season,
But I'm saying, like, do you jump on the bike and just kind of over the weekend, if you got nothing going on, just kind of clip and take a ride, or are you only doing it for track stuff?
really only track stuff. It's hard to get these bikes prepped. I mean, they pretty much tear them down and build them back up between each race and session.
Got it. So outside of the race bike, you don't have your own personal bike?
I've got a little dirt bike, but it's hard to find a
Dirt
place to
bike?
ride. So. Oh, I've got a little 50
Right on.
I do in a parking lot.
All right, gotcha.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Good job making this
work on
longer,
your
sir.
wheelies. Yeah.
That is the one thing I can't
Alright.
do as a wheelie, and I've always wanted to. So someone needs to teach me how to do a wheelie.
All right. So
all right.
next one. What's the most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Embarrassing.
Or
My favorite song
something-
is Danza Kuduro. Have you heard that one?
No.
It's a Spanish song. I'd say it's
Okay.
embarrassing how much I listen to that song.
Well, Ben's our Latin lover. Ben's our Latin lover in this relationship, so he may know it, but I don't. All right. If you could time travel, which era would you visit and why?
I would visit like the cavemen era, just
Okay.
to see like what that was actually like. I feel like
All right.
there's a lot of conspiracies and like the kind
I
of
think
people and plants. And
I think with your personality, you'd probably be dragging the caveman by the hair instead of the other way around.
I'd be showing them how
All
it real
right.
works. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. All right. Favorite motorcycle movie of all time?
Ooh, that's hard. Gosh, not motorcycle, but like Days of Thunder is my favorite racing movie.
Okay, that's a great
So-
movie. Yeah, that's a
Classic.
great movie.
I don't know.
That's fine. That works.
Okay.
That works. That's a good movie.
Okay.
All right. Who was your movie crush when you were a teenager? Which
Tom
was
Cruise.
what, last year?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Okay, gotcha.
Days of
Still
Thunder.
is.
If you could meet and have dinner with one person, past or present, who would it be?
Valentina Ross.
And you can't say Tom Cruise.
Ah,
Oh, Valentina Rossi.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd want to meet Tom Cruise in real life. I feel like it might.
Yeah, disappoint
Ruin
you.
it.
Yeah, yeah. From what you hear, he's not the best of the best, so that's for sure. He's not one of the few good men. All right. One law you would change if you were president for the motorcycle community.
Ooh. Well, this is not fun, but I would make helmets required everywhere.
Okay, cool.
I
I
believe
like
in
that. Yeah, me too. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Send it. Just
Send it.
Heck yeah. Yes.
All right, I like that.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what's really kind of settled in my brain. It's just
All right, cool, man. If you could get up on stage and sing or jam with one band, who would it be? Or one singer?
right now, probably Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
I feel like that'd be crazy. Just all the stuff she's got going on stage and the hype.
Ben usually wears his Travis Kelce jersey on the show.
Yeah, right.
But today he didn't for some reason. I don't know.
I
don't know what happened. All right. What is the one piece of clothing you own that you love, but I don't know if you have a relationship or not, but your boyfriend does not like?
Oh, not in a relationship right now, but.
How about your parents, your mom or your dad?
All right.
You change that.
Well, I am in a sorority and a fraternity, so got a lot of date night clothes, that's probably only appropriate and
that dad probably doesn't enjoy seeing. Yeah, I got you.
Got some nice heels.
Enough said.
They're nice too, yeah.
All right, good one. If they made a biker theme movie about you, who would play you?
That's hard. Ooh, I want to say Tom Cruise, but that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You kind of have some Uma Thurman, Kill Bill vibes a little.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
All right.
I don't know. That's a tough one to get back to you on.
All right, we'll get back on that one. What's the silliest superstition you follow before or after you ride your motorcycle?
I'm really not superstitious.
Good. Okay.
I do have to say, the only 2 times I've worn this one set of leathers is when I've gotten hit by the back these past 2 times.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not wearing
those
that.
leathers have been retired?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're done. They're
Gotcha.
done. But
all right, cool.
no rituals or anything. Oh, I do eat green grapes at the racetrack.
Green grapes.
Oh,
okay.
Every
grapes.
time? Specific? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess.
All right. Last question. Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, of course, what other podcasts do you listen to?
So I'm not a huge podcaster, but when I just started getting into road racing, I started listening to the Ken Hill podcast, which he just talks about motorcycle theory and what to do on the bike in different situations. And so I guess I still listen to him a bit before just to kind of refresh some technique that I never really learned from in person. So
does that podcast, is that podcast focused towards racers, to help racers?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
He pretty much,
That is cool. We'll link that.
yeah, teaches you how to race, which is kind of cool. Very high.
Well, awesome.
Really cool.
You made it with 1 minute and 59 seconds, so no One Gang stickers on your helmet.
You should still send them. I'll put them still.
We will. We'll get you. All right, that's cool. We'll definitely do that for sure. But listen, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you coming on the show. We know you got a lot on your plate, and it's amazing to watch you as such a young person to be chasing your dreams and trying to succeed in both facets of your life. Obviously,
Killing it.
Mom and dad, huge influential people in your life, and that's a great thing to see. We are your biggest fans. Now you got 2 more here in Florida that are gonna follow you.
I'll be rooting for you.
Rooting for you for sure, no matter what you do. And maybe what we'll do is, after you get some races behind you in the next 6 to 8 months, we'll have you back on the show, kind of discuss some of the things you've gone through and talk a little bit more about the race days.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome. You guys will have to come out to some of the Florida races too. Kind of not.
That would be cool.
Heck yeah.
If you can keep us updated on that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Because we would love to come out and check it out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
where do you normally go to when you come here? I know Daytona, but do you go anywhere else?
Homestead in Miami.
Oh,
We do
Homestead.
some stuff
Okay.
there.
Mhm.
Jennings is North Florida. We do a lot of just training and testing there. And then Roebling Road's in Savannah, Georgia. But that's kind of well.
Savannah. I love Savannah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love Savannah. I don't need an excuse to go to Savannah, so that
Nope.
place is awesome.
Yeah, we'll have you guys out. Definitely.
Sweet.
We'll keep in touch.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Anyway,
Thanks, Sonya. That was absolutely
thank
awesome.
you guys so much.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely love it.
We appreciate you. All right. Thank you so much.
Great day.